Can you imagine passing your driving test one day and competing in a Formula One Grand Prix the next? Not only that, but you had to win if you wanted to stay alive. Well, that sounds like the plot of a film that would rival The Hunger Games or Rollerball. Perhaps it could be a theme of a new series to replace Game of Thrones. More likely, it could be the basis of the latest computer game. However, it's none of these. It's not virtual reality, but the grim reality of 1940. Since the young men who fought in the skies over Britain that summer were at best ill-prepared to meet the Luftwaffe pilots, who were battle-hardened by the Spanish Civil War. As a result, their life expectancy was a mere 4 weeks. At the battle's end, in mid-September, 544 Allied pilots had died, including over 200 who had migrated here from occupied Europe. We should also remember the 2,600 German airmen who also died in the struggle that they called the Battle for England. Now, all fighting in the uniform of the Royal Air Force were highly intelligent and could have looked forward to long, successful and fulfilling lives. Moreover, they were all volunteers. In a nutshell, they must have been grievously aware of the dangers. So why did they take such a mortal risk? It was because of an overriding moral imperative. And as a result, we not only live in freedom, but also many of our parents would not have survived in an occupied Britain. They rightly then have been given the epithet the few, and their courage honoured as the nation's finest hour. And this inspiration to gamble death for a greater cause must surely come from the teachings of Christ. Since addressing his brave few, he said this in Mark's Gospel: "Anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You're not in the driving seat, I am." Don't run from suffering, embrace it. Follow me, and I will show you how. Self-help is no help at all. Self-sacrifice is the way, my way, to save yourself, your true self. Because Jesus knew that going to Jerusalem at the Passover was not going to end well. He foresaw his passion. He knew also it would be the only way, not just to his finest hour, but humanity's finest hour. As an outcome, we live life in all its fullness here and now. Nevertheless, we too, in this ghastly year, have seen the same sacrificial pursuit of the moral imperative once again to grace our nation and globe. For who has not had the greatest respect and gratitude for the frontline workers who fought for our health whilst knowing well the dangers? They have braved the Herculean effort needed to keep going day after day when faced with an implacable foe. They too must have felt the fatigue of risking decided odds for greater good of all. Let us then remember those who lost their lives for our sake during this pandemic. On this day we remember heroes. May indeed future generations see this as our finest hour. But above even these, the challenge is to follow Jesus and heft our own cross remains with us. Each and every one of us, each and every day. We are surrounded by moral imperatives that needs battling, even sacrificing. Therefore, we honour best all who have given their lives for our nation by showing our own determination to action. For if we do, we will rank among this age's few. We will break free from the gravity of self-interest. We will rise above the lumpen flag-waving and popularism. We will indeed soar into God's Grand Prix truly understanding John Gillespie Magee, the Royal Canadian Air Force pilot's poem, when he wrote this. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds, and done 100 things you would not have dreamt of, wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovered there, I chased the shouting wind along, and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long delirious blue burning sky, I have topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark or ever eagle flew. And while with silent lifting mind I've trod the high untranspassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.